Hello everyone. Today we're going to show you how to solder copper pipe. Wow. Now this is a great video. This is coming from a master plumber, universal certified in air conditioning, and I've got my backflow prevention certificate, and I'm a brazier with oxygen med gases. So anyway, here we go. But don't forget my book, Commercial Plumbing Maintenance, Amazon.com. That's why I'm here. I'm promoting my book. I can teach you and teach you and teach you, but this book will teach you more about being maintenance and in commercial buildings. So let's go over the fundamentals for soldering. All right, well first you got your copper pipe. We're talking about copper pipe. You've taken your copper pipe, you've cut it square. Okay, no hacksaw, no sawzall, no mucking around, bull crap. Solder it and cut it right, okay? You cut it properly with a good cutter wheel. So you've cut the pipe. Now, you've reamed the pipe with all the different types of reamers. Let's go with this reamer, okay? I like this reamer. You ream the pipe. Now, why are we reaming the pipe? Well, because you cut it and there's still burrs in there, and it's not a smooth transition yet because you cut it. Now in there, oh, look at that, how smooth. You can tell inside if you can. Okay, there you go. So there's one, here's the other one, and we're using L copper today. That is commercial grade copper, which I use in homes. I don't use no M copper, I don't like it. I think it's a piece of shit. I just don't like it. Next, you sand it. This is sandcloth. They sell this, all kinds of sandcloth. They have a nice tool that goes to clean it also. That's not bad. It has brushes. But don't go crazy. I mean, don't sit there and sand the shit out of it like crazy, because I'm going to tell you why. Because it's called capillary space. When this fits into the fitting, the manufacturer, which is the copper industry, has a certain tolerance. And if you go too much and you start using super tools to shine this up, well, then you start taking off the capillary space. Now, the other rule, this is Apprenticeship 101, do not touch it. You've just sanded it. Don't touch it. We're going to put this right here for now, okay? Don't touch it. Not with your fingers. Don't get it dirty. The next one. All right, you got your fitting. Now, the larger fittings, you can use other stuff, but right here we're going to use a brush, okay? I got a fitting brush, a nice fitting brush. You're going to clean it. Same thing. Don't go crazy. They have tools. They have some guys cut this off and they put it in their drill. That's okay as long as you don't overdo it. Don't overdo it. Don't start taking off that capillary space. Don't start sanding the shit out of it. You know, you just need it clean, good and clean. Don't go too crazy, and clean both sides, because we're gonna solder this up. Okay, so I'm gonna show you how to solder. Now, if you were doing oxygen, you would order clean fittings. They come in a bag, and they would already come clean, but you still use a brand new brush and you brush it, okay? Because even though they're clean, they're called clean fittings. That way they're just for sanitation purposes, for oxygen, med gases, stuff like that. So I'm going to put that down here on the vise, okay? I haven't touched it. Now I got to get the other one, all right? So now I got the other fitting that we're going to use. Did I ream it? Yeah, I did. Okay, so we're going to take the other side, because we're going to solder on this 45-degree fitting, okay? So same thing. You're going to sand it. Don't go crazy now. Don't go crazy. All right, beautiful. Don't touch it. Don't spit on it. Don't do nothing. We're setting this also down right here on top of my vise. All right, it's there. Nobody's going to bump it. Now we use Flux. I like no corrode. They make all different types. Don't use that type where it says, oh, we're going to solder with it. It comes with solder and all that. This is just the filling to help the flow of the solder, okay? It doesn't glue in. It's not a glue. You mix it up really, really good, okay? If you haven't done it already. You mix it up really, 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 really good. So you get it all mixed up. You got your brush. Don't go crazy with, remember, it helps the flow of the solder. That's all. Okay, so you apply your flux. You don't need to be crazy. You just make a nice round thing. You see that? Okay, now I like to do the fitting next. Same thing with the fitting. You do your fitting. You don't need to over flux it because you don't want flux everywhere. And now you stick and you feel the, oh, see how that feels? It's a little snug. That's what you want. You don't want it loose and you don't want it too tight. So here you go. So now you've, well, tight is okay as long as it fits on there. You know, you're not hammering it on. All right, so now you've fluxed both sides. You've gotten them in, okay? Now, you've added enough flux, you're good. Don't touch it, don't mess with it, don't put rags on it, don't go crazy. So now you get your glasses. Where's my glasses at? You get your glasses, your safety stuff. You put your glasses on. You get your gloves. Sometimes I wear my gloves, sometimes I don't when I solder, okay? This is a little one, so I'm not gonna really wear my gloves. All right, so now you use the proper solder. No lead. Now in the old days, they had lead, the lead solder. Now it's 95.5, 95% tin, 5% antimony. So now you get this. Many people have different ways. Some people will go around in a circle, okay? They'll go around in a circle and they'll say, okay, that's how much solder I need to use, right there. Because that's the circular, the circumference. So right there, that's all the solder you need. I don't care if it's 1/2 inch, 3/4, 1 inch, 2 inch, 10 inch. I've soldered up to 12-inch pipe, okay? So just figure that much solder. Now a little bit more sometimes, but normally this is all you need on 1/2 and 3/4. All right, so you've got an idea how much you need. Now you get your torch, okay? And you have a rag. You want a little rag available. Not so much for anything, but okay, so you got your rag. Now you got your torch. This is one of these propane things I don't mind using at home. But my book will discuss more and more about these if you look at my book and why I don't like them and why they are handy. You know, they're good for fires. Okay, and they're good for this. Okay, what do we got? All right, see the flame? There's the flame. The blue part right there, that's the hottest part. See that? All right, now, when you solder, the thicker part is the cup. They call this the cup. So you want to heat the cup and the pipe, 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 all the way around. Now this is how you're taught in apprenticeship school. The cup and the pipe, the cup and the pipe, the cup and the pipe. Up and down, up and down. I know a lot of guys leave in one place. Now, you're ready. You add your solder and you should be hot enough. You just get enough in there, just enough. And you keep your heat away and just get just enough in there. Now I got a little bit too much, so I'm gonna wipe it up, okay? I'm going crazy with my soldering right now. Not a very good job. Okay, so I'm not paying attention enough. Same thing, I'm actually getting a little bit too hot. Okay, so we're gonna put it on. I don't even need to heat it anymore. All right, there we go. And now, you're in there, and we used just enough. Now, don't touch it. Don't touch it. Don't put a wet rag on it. Putting a wet rag on it will anneal it, which hardens it. And it also can crack it. What you wanted to do is to cool naturally. So if you put just enough solder in there, you've got it just right, you're good. Stop. Now when it cools down, you can see the color. The color will change. It goes from a bright silver to a dull silver. And then you know that it's safe, because if you touched it too early, you're going to pop the fitting, meaning you're going to, inside there, you had nice solder inside. Now you crack the solder inside. Now you may potentially have a leak. Okay? All right, so now when you know it's dry, you can use a wet rag now, just enough, don't go crazy, and just wipe it, okay? Just wipe it, make it look pretty. And that's all you're doing, is making it look pretty. Now, how you know if you got a good solder? How you know if you're doing right? If you want to know if you're doing right, if you're soldering right, you can cut this in half. You can get a hacksaw and cut it in half. And then you can look inside and see if you've got either not enough copper or enough copper. When you take your plumber's exam, I'm not sure if they're still doing it, but they had us do that. They'd have an 1.5-inch piece of pipe that you'd have to solder. They'd cut it in half, and then they would look for voids. Every void was a point off, and the bigger the void, you'd have 5 points off. And if you got 75% or less, I think it was 75, you'd fail. So then you'd fail your journeyman's test. Now a master's test, they don't do that because you're doing more calculations. But there you go. Okay. Now you're ready for your next joints. Continue on. Make sure everything's good. That wasn't so difficult. Well, it's a little sloppy here, but it'll hold. It'll hold. As I say, you want to know if you're good? Cut it in half. Pop it open. Once it cools, pop it open. Take a look to see if you've soldered it right. You'll see little voids in there where the solder didn't make up. And if all the solder's in there, whoo, you're an expert. Holy smokes, you better become a plumber, man. All right, well, let's hope you plumbers out there are doing the right thing and not don't be going crazy. Take your classes, go to school, learn this shit, man. Don't go nuts. Cut the pipe properly. Use the proper solder. Use the proper pipe. M copper, that piece of shit, yellow copper, you know, or I don't like it. It's thin-walled. People use it in their homes, and I don't recommend it. You know, you're gonna in 10 years, it's gonna have pits in it, little pits in the pipe. It'll have little pits in 10 years. And people talk about galvanized in there 40 freaking years, man. Now, it also depends on the water. I know. I'm talking too much. I better get off this channel now. All right, take care. We'll get on another one.